First of all, I had an issue, like a family issue with a car accident. No one's hurt. Everybody's fine. No worries. But then that happened like at 5 of 1, like right before we were about to go on the air. So Russ and Mike were nice enough to hold off until now. Okay. Let me kill that thing 1 second. Hold on. We'll get there. It is. Okay, so and then of course when I'm running outside to my car to get into my car, there's this tree clipper that was on the ground that I had left there. I hit this tree clipper and it comes up and whacks me in the eye. So if you can see, I've got a really good shiner going, and my whole side of my face feels like going. So yeah.
It's a hockey eye.
It's a hockey injury. Although I did it by myself with a tree clipper when no one else around. Just like totally embarrassing. Just only the way I could hurt myself. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, like I really wonder, like if I'm safe to be out and about with people. So this was a good one. But we're all good. Let's start the show.
Is everybody else's video really slow?
My video seems okay. At least from where I am, at least, it looks okay. How's yours, Russ? Russ was apparently eaten by a dog.
But let me just log off quickly and log back on.
Yeah, Russ. While Russ gets mauled and Mike logs back out and in, we're going to discuss a lot of things on the show today, including some really interesting rumors that are flying around. So we'll get into that. And Pavel Bure, who we talked about yesterday, someone sent me an email that Pavel Bure made his NHL debut 24 years ago today. 24 years ago.
What was that?
Pavel Bure made his debut.
Wow.
Today. Pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
We just talked about it yesterday.
Yep.
And how good Pavel Bure was. How fast he was, obviously.
Yeah, it's funny. There really still isn't anybody like him in the NHL. There's really not.
No, and last year, like the thing to throw out was Nathan MacKinnon, right? Like people were saying, right. Nathan MacKinnon has Pavel Bure, and he doesn't really have Pavel Bure type speed. He's got good speed, but he's
good speed in the neutral zone. It's not like great overall speed. That's what it is. It's
McDavid might be the closest to that speed. Like I at least watching him early on, I was just incredibly impressed with his acceleration. That was the thing about Bure. Bure was 0 to 60 in no time flat. That was the thing.
Who are we talking about here?
We're talking about speed. Pavel Bure played his first game in the NHL 24 years ago today. Sorry, we're not that old. 24 years ago.
42.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, but 20. So we were talking about the players that now are closest to Pavel Bure, or since then have and I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of the fastest players in the NHL right now.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. After watching the game last night, Nikolai Ehlers from the Winnipeg Jets might be one of the fastest because that kid, he was blowing by some Leaf defensemen like they were standing still. Great wheels.
Yeah, Ehlers has gotten faster and faster. I actually just wrote about him for another website that I write for today. He's really just in the last year improved so much. And yeah, the speed's there. I mean, there's no doubt. I still think there are faster guys, and I just think you're dealing with the Leafs defense too.
Maybe, but he looked lightning quick. He did look very impressive.
I mean, I always thought Hagelin was really fast. Like
he was. I mean, he did win the fastest skater competition, but it's not a hockey speed. It's a just flat out can skate speed. It's kind of different. There's guys with hockey speed, and like I said, MacKinnon through the neutral zone struck me as being the fastest, and maybe McDavid's faster than that now, but we'll have to wait and see. It looked like he might have been. But then there are guys that are just fast all around, like Russ Courtnall. Nobody could catch him, but he could never do anything with it.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's sort of an optical illusion. Like, first of all, sometimes I think that the guys who are smaller look quicker.
Mm-hmm.
But big player, like last night, Blake Wheeler, who is for a big guy is a very good skater, And there was one play where he had gotten the puck in stride and flew through the Leaf zone and had a good chance on goal. And I'm like, I think he's 6'4" or 6'5". I mean, you don't take into consideration the bigger guy. But the thing was, he was flying, and I could see that based on who he was passing and how fast he was going. But I think optically, a lot of people think that the smaller guys are a lot quicker. It's an optical illusion.
Yeah, and I think quickness too is something, and quickness versus speed is definitely a difference as well. And then you also have the fact that sometimes big guys they definitely take a few strides to get up to speed.
Yep.
And so in the NHL, it's rare that you have a few strides. That's part of it. Some of the faster players, some of the bigger faster players, you don't notice as speed. Like Mario Lemieux could fly. Could flat out fly. And you could see his speed, but it wasn't often. He would often look like he was moving really slowly through the zone when he wasn't. He was flying, but you couldn't tell. But like a guy like Johnny Gaudreau starts pumping up the legs, and he looks like he's going 1,000 miles an hour. Briere was the same way. Philly, they just these smaller guys. Definitely, I do agree with that. But Bure was I don't know. I think maybe McDavid's the closest one we've had. Like who has.
Unfortunate, they didn't. By the time they were doing fastest skater, Bure was already like 6 knee operations into it.
Right.
I remember, Mike Gartner marveled us all.
Yes.
And I guess in 2000 when he won it, may have been the first one, and he was like 37.
Yep.
And we were like, oh my God, look how fast Mike Gartner still is. And so, a young Mike Gartner, we might have said, hey, look, we've got the numbers to back it up because he was spectacular. Still at 37, he can move.
Oh yeah. No, he could, and yeah. I think those are good names. Let's start the show. It's the 5th of November, Thursday, and I have a nice eye injury, so I'm a day-to-day. I was a game time decision today, so I'm playing, but I have got my protective glasses here in case I need them at any point. So this works actually pretty well because I can actually see I can look straight at you while I'm typing down here.
There you go.
Fascinating, because these glasses look straight down. All right, here we go. No painkillers today. I'm doing the show sans painkillers, just so you guys know. Whew. Believe me, I know. My head's going to fall off any minute. Okay. Hello, Hockey World. It's Thursday, November 5th, 2015.
I'm Michael Agello.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
And I'm Eklund, and you're watching the HockeyBuzzCast on HockeyBuzz.com. This is the podcast that comes to you every Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And, of course,
it's like 1 Pacific.
It's 1 Pacific Time today. We're doing a special Western show today for everyone.
We don't want to show that Eastern bias all the time.
That's right. So today, yeah, so people out West get to know what it's like to watch the show at 1 o'clock. And people in the East probably aren't watching at all. But besides that...
Hello, Phoenix!
Hello, Phoenix, yes. Patrick Kane is one of those guys who might be considered fast and skilled. He's definitely, and his case has been dismissed. So that happened. I guess we move on.
In the news today.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about it yesterday. Let's hope that some players learn something from this and somebody is saved from really bad things in the future. That's all I can say. Let's just hope that and hope the person who went through this.
And we said, and somebody said this yesterday, so I'll say it. We hope that Patrick Kane learns from this.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure he's going to, and that's the thing.
We can't tell, right? And we also can't tell if Patrick Kane was targeted. There's so many things that we will never know. But the whole fact of the matter is that it's over, and the one thing we need to know is that, or at least it appears to be over legally, at least, and maybe it's never going to be over.
The DA Frank Sedita came out today and said that they're not pursuing charges against him, and the accuser said that she was not going to participate in anything. So yeah, it's over with. It's over and done with. I don't even think there's going to be any kind of civil proceedings. So
my hope in the future is that the guy doesn't need a cleaner, and he could actually just kind of go through life and not have any problems. There are plenty of guys that do it. He should be able to do it. Now, if he can't, then that raises more questions.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean that's true, and there's no question that the scrutiny on Patrick Kane it has tainted him to a degree. Whether or not this is something he did, or whether or not he's been targeted by some people, as other people say, it's Patrick Kane is
He's got other issues that we know are
yes,
definitive, and
right,
he has this one, so it's sort of mounting. That's the way it's working.
yes, right. All right, so let's move on from that. Never to discuss Patrick Kane stuff again. Hopefully, Patrick, don't ever make us discuss your stuff again. All right, so Kadri, last night on trying to check Bufflin. I don't know if you saw this quote, Mike. I'm sure you did.
I did it. I included it in my article
Yeah.
on Hockey Buzz this afternoon. First of all, it takes a genius, a mental marvel to when you're 6 foot and 190 pounds like Nazem Kadri is to attempt to hit a Mack truck, but he tried and learned, hopefully, that you can't do it.
Never say never. I don't know what were the dimensions of Stan Jonathan. I saw him hit many big guys in the NHL.
Yeah, but he was a fire plug, and he always went for the hip check or something like that. We're talking Kadri was. I don't think he got airborne, but he attempted to meet Bufflin at his height, and let's just say.
But does he not get points for trying?
Yes,
Right?
I get points for trying.
No.
I don't think he's an idiot. No,
Absolutely, yes. All right, I'm gonna pigeonhole your answer here because everybody started to rip Kadri like, hey, we don't know if he even likes hockey. This kid's not trying that hard. He's not this. He's not that. He's got Mike Babcock as his coach. He tried that. That's being inspired by your coach.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Well,
yeah. And he said it felt like his sternum had collapsed.
Yeah.
Which I give him. I thought that was funny. And
That was funny, but
yeah,
you should not be happy about that.
we have to give him credit for this, Mike. I mean, I know you don't want to give him credit, but you have to give him credit for this because he's this. I mean, he's a hockey player for crying out loud. He's a hockey player, and he goes out there and he shows that he's a hockey player. And you got sometimes when you're a hockey player, you got to hit guys that are way bigger than you. And
That's
you're gonna,
right.
Well, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but what I'm saying is that no, you're not hitting a guy bigger than you. You're hitting basically the biggest guy in the league. It's like somebody hitting Zdeno Chara. You know you're going to get destroyed, but you're going to do it anyway.
But they still do it.
Right, but to me that's counterproductive. And
Right.
Kadri limped to the bench, could have gotten seriously hurt. Now he got slammed by Mark Stewart, one of the other Jets defensemen, and that led to a goal. And so he paid the price. I'm not saying that Nazem Kadri isn't willing to pay the price. Sometimes I questioned his hockey IQ. He's got immense skill. He does. But sometimes I don't think he does the smart things on the ice, and that's been my main critique of him.
Well, here we go. I'm going to show you guys because I have it now. I was waiting through a
commercial.
an ad there for the latest James Bond movie. But here we go.
I want to see that movie.
Here's Kadri feeling the effects of this. This is the funny thing about this hit is it really is just like.
Here you go. Watch this. Boom. I mean,
Bufflin doesn't even look at him. It's like Bufflin's like, okay, wait, did something just hit me?
Yeah.
Bufflin doesn't even acknowledge him. He just runs right over him.
Yeah, that's a snow drift and a snow plow right there. That's what it is.
What it is to me is the funny thing about this. What I really like about it is this reminds me of the Peter Forsberg hit, which was always one of my favorite hits in the NHL, which is when a player would try to hit Peter Forsberg and they would bounce off of Peter. Peter was so great at bracing himself. He never wanted to try. No one would throw a check because they knew they would be bouncing off. They would take the brunt of their own checks. This is what happened here. But
to make a long story short with the Leafs, they played a tight game. They played a competitive game against Winnipeg. Winnipeg had the distinct size advantage and aggressiveness advantage in the game and wore the Leafs down and scored a goal with, I think, a little over 2 minutes left to go in the third period, which for people who are looking for the Leafs to draft Austin Matthews or Jacob Chychrun or Matthew Tkachuk, that was the perfect game for them.
Right. Mike's always pulling for the perfect loss. So
but the thing is, the perfect loss is getting harder to find with your team playing harder in games.
Right.
I don't think
Like,
they're playing
again,
harder.
worse than losing.
I mean, Winnipeg is a really good team, and they're really good defensively, really good.
Russ, I don't think they're playing harder. I think they've been playing hard, but I will cite James Myrtle of the Globe and Mail when I refer to this. Apparently, their possession numbers, and me quoting Corsi numbers, the world is stopped.
No, I got in a fight with somebody about this yesterday.
In the last 5, I think it was in the last 5 games, the Leafs are second last or last in the league in their Corsi numbers, which means I think they've been getting physically pounded by more talented and more aggressive teams, and I think it's starting to take its toll. It's a tough game to play puck possession, and I think that this team is not up to it to do that. So I think that as the season goes along, it's going to be tougher and tougher for them to play the type of game that Mike Babcock wants them to play.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, so also last night, speaking of ex-Leafs, which we weren't, but we will bring this up. So the Phil Kessel last night. Okay, this shot. Okay, anybody who doubts Phil Kessel's ability to play and his talent level and he takes this shot off his back skate. He's going backwards. He's a quick one-timer. It's on his off wing.
Mm-hmm.
Hits the crossbar and ends up in the player bench. It's a wrist shot that is such a hard shot that it hits the crossbar and deflects back into the player bench. I mean, that is not easy.
That's patented Kessel in terms of shooting off the wrong foot. He confuses a lot of goaltenders that way. Goaltenders expecting a right hand shot to shoot off a certain foot, and he throws them off by shooting off the wrong foot. And he's caught many a goaltender by surprise that way.
How hard do you have to hit it though to any of us would take a puck and shoot it off the crossbar? None of us could get it out of the zone.
Was it on the fly?
On the fly, over the penalty box.
That's impressive.
It's over the penalty box. It's over the player bench. Like the players ducked out of the way of it.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, that's just, and it was just a little wrist shot. Bam, and it's like a one-timer wrist shot practically. That was really a skilled play. So, for what it's worth, Phil Kessel is definitely, he's not. Corey Perry finally scored last night.
Hey, there you go.
Like I said, I think the Ducks are just. I think the Ducks are playing karma back for last year because they haven't played as badly as. But his reaction is what's classic on this. This is like.
Well, I have to admit, I fell asleep watching this game.
Yeah, that wasn't hard to do.
But
that wasn't hard to do. But here we go. Here's the Corey Perry shot and goal and reaction to like as if he is actually freed his soul. Like he's like, oh. It's the greatest moment ever for him.
He's always over the top, Corey Perry, though.
Yeah, that was just very funny. I mean, really funny stuff. And Corey Perry just he's definitely been feeling it. And I mean, the Ducks last year they won a whole bunch of 1-0 game or 1-goal games, and this year, that's how hockey works.
Well, and I read this morning that Ryan Getzlaf is practicing. It's a little over a week since he had the appendectomy, so based on that. Right. Yeah, he'll probably be back in 2 or 3 days. So that's good news for Bruce Boudreau. But as you wrote, in your blog this afternoon, that doesn't preclude Bob Murray from making any kind of moves. I think they're still going to.
No, I was told that they really are, and we often talk about teams don't want to make trades just for the trade's sake. I mean, I think I heard the Flames GM come out and say that yesterday. I don't want to make a trade. We hear GM say this all the time, right? We don't want to make a trade just to shake up things. That's not what we're here to do. And I get that, but I get the impression with the Ducks that they actually do just want to make a trade.
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, or make that coaching change. I mean, again, Corey Perry could be really happy about what happened, and I don't blame him. But Anaheim is like really pretty far out of it at the moment.
Well, the thing is, and the player that you referenced was Cam Fowler.
Yep.
I mean, Fowler's under contract for a few more years, and putting 2 and 2 together there, it's like and I said that we said this before on a previous webcast. When you have Frederick Anderson, who I don't think they really are sold on holding on to, but he's an RFA. Lindholm is an RFA at the end of the year. So is Vatanen. If you want to spend money to sign those defensemen long term, you're going to have to clear cap space down the line, and that's where Fowler comes in. They could spend the money on Lindholm and on Vatanen, some of the money that Fowler has, and then get something for Fowler that can help them now, which to me would be a forward. But from what you were saying,
they're looking for a defensive help. They are looking for another defender. I think they really don't like their transition game, is what I've been told. And then a lot of this comes down to James Wisniewski, who they really brought in to do this, and he's hurt. And they've gotten Sammy Vatanen's had an off year so far, and they expected more out of him, and I think he still will be a good player, but he's not having the year they wanted him to have right now.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, that's true. I mean, I agree with that, but still, I mean, there's more going wrong than that.
Yeah, but it's puzzling that they brought in Wisniewski last year at the deadline to help out with that, with that transition game, as Zach is saying. And then Boudreau never used him in the playoffs and never used him at the end of the season. And then they trade him to Carolina for Khudobin. So I mean, they're looking for something that they may have already had, but now they're looking for somebody different to provide that. It's strange.
No, it's very true. There's a lot of returning players coming up now. So first of all, Couturier is going to be back in the lineup for the Flyers tonight against the Calgary Flames. That's a battle of two teams going nowhere quickly right now. So that'll be an interesting game to watch. The Flyers having lost 5 in a row. The Flames having lost about that.
Did I hear it correctly? The Flyers haven't won since like October 4th?
Yeah. I'm telling you, that if it wasn't for those 2 games that that Neuwirth played out of his mind, those back-to-back shutouts, the Flyers would probably be the worst team in the NHL right now. Those 2 games, like really, literally, he stole them 2 games. There's no two ways about it.
That organization is the most puzzling. I think they have a lot of talent, but just doesn't see. And I understand it's going to take a little time getting used to Dave Haxtell as a new head coach, but there's a lot of talent there, and I just don't understand why they're not doing better than they are.
Yeah, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff going on that you can't get into, but there's a definite culture crisis going on, a crisis of culture going on, I think, within the organization and with some of the players and with Haxtell.
Sorry, I meant the 24th, not the 4th. Right.
No, but still, there's a big culture clash going on in the Flyers room, and it's not, and this is Haxtell is not getting the respect he needs to get, and I don't think he's gotten the player that can really help sell his system to the team yet, and I really feel that there's just so much going on there, and you're starting to see things like Mark Streit's getting really frustrated, he's starting to come out and say stuff like that we're just not working hard or what have you. There's Giroux doesn't look like himself at all. Voracek obviously hasn't scored yet either. There's Van de Velde, who actually played for Haxtell in college, so is probably the closest thing, but he's not going to be leading this team. He's a 4th-line player and he's a good player, but he's not going to lead this team. Mark Streit's trying to, but there's a lot. I mean, he's the veteran, very much kind of out on by himself. LeCavalier is unhappy, so he's not going to be leading the team. Umberger is, Umberger's a little. I get the sense like Umberger and Simmons are kind of in a negative space right now. So there's just a whole bunch of there's definitely a negative vibe going on. So this can all change with a couple wins because that's how hockey works. But right now there's a crisis of culture a little bit in the Flyers room.
I'll tell you what, there's a crisis of too. I mean, so Umberger, got hurt. He came back. He's not been good since he's come back. When does that run end? When do they say, experiment over? We've got guys down below. Let's start using some of them because there's no return here. He might play hard and he might be able to play physical, but we're not getting anything out of the guy.
Right. We're not, and it very much feels like justification is still trying to be made for that trade, and it doesn't make any sense. There's no point at this point. And we understand that trade was not a good trade.
Right.
And everyone makes bad trades. Hextall has made some good trades too. That's just
they did it more for cap reasons than really for player reasons.
Yeah.
That too. But the thing is, it's like, we heard about the hip thing. All right, great. His hip's there. All right, well, he still hasn't scored a goal. He has 4 points. I mean,
yeah.
You factor that out. and he's going to get like a 20-point season. Is it worth it to have him on the ice for that?
Right. And now, and he had. I mean, I gave Hackstall last game. He did finally do what I've been wanting him to do, which is play LeCavier and Gagne together on the third line. But then I don't understand the promotion of Lawton to the second line and Braden Shen to the third. I don't get Braden Shen. I don't get promoting Lawton over Braden Shen at this point. I don't see that as a.
Well, Lawton did have a goal the last game.
He did score, but you know what I'm saying. He scored for sure, and that's it was a good goal, but. Braden Shen, that it's just you need him to be better. You need to bring the confidence up of Braden Shen.
Whenever Braden Shen comes up, you get to the feeling of maybe Hackstall is promoting the guys that they're going to keep around for a long period of time, and with Braden Shen, who's an RFA at the end of the year, we've heard his name circulated in trade possibilities over not just this year but the last couple of years. How in love they are with Braden Shen.
Yeah, no, I think it's getting closer to Braden Shen being moved. It feels like that, but at the same time, they do like Braden Shen and it's not. We're not talking about a player who's. We're definitely talking about a player who's got value. So there's a reason to trade a player with value, of course, but
they brought Drewski up. I mean, why is that? I mean, that's just ridiculous. There's guys down there that can play. Palusha can play. Nick Cousins can play. At some point, you need to.
Yeah, Nick Cousins is one I was really worried about. I was thinking about too. Russ, I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I would say there's one spot on this team for Umberger and LeCavier every night, and you guys will rotate that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I got to open up another spot and maybe get more scoring because they have no scoring.
Yeah, and Nick Cousins he can infuse a lot of energy and a lot of good. I mean, he's actually a perfect type of player to bring in right now, and I think that although Lawton's on this team, if you ask some people in the Flyers organization, the longer term upside they see in Nick Cousins. They really see Cousins as a guy who could be the guy. They see him as a scorer. He is a scorer. He's got really good touch around the net. He's big. He's very physical.
He's an agitator.
Yeah, and they could use that right now. They could use that kind of attitude. So.
He's got 9 points in 8 games. I'm not sure he's got anything else he could prove down at Lehigh.
Yeah, right now, why not? Why not bring him up and start? I mean, if you're going to go this way anyway, I think the fans would rather be losing with interesting players than losing with this lineup because so you might as well just go with it. I mean, you're having a lot of talent that's not in for the Phantoms, but that's still a year or two away. So bring up the ones that are there at least now and get them started.
Well, I mean, it's too early to talk about, rental deals because those happen closer to the deadline. But Luke Shen, who's to me is on the outs. I mean, but I don't know how much interest there is there in Philadelphia to keep him past past this deal. He's making $3.6 million, and the question is whether the Flyers will eat any of that salary to move him and get something for him. And if they don't do that for him, are they going to do that for Umberger to find if somebody would take on that contract if it was at a less?
Yeah, Umberger's not movable. LeCavier is not movable. LeCavier is maybe a little more movable than Umberger, but not much.
They'd probably have to eat.
Luke Shen is movable. Like Luke Shen, there are people who would take Luke Shen. Because he isn't his last year.
But again, you take out Luke Shen, and now all of a sudden you've removed a guy who's got 4 points in 8 games.
And who actually is playing. Yeah, I mean, he's actually, he's still
good,
skilled defenseman still, and they have more skilled defensemen maybe coming up, but they're not going to be here for a couple of years. So you could see Luke Shen signing a 1-year deal here, I think, or a 2-year deal here. I wouldn't be shocked if either happened, and not for a ton of money, but $3 million a year for 2 years. Could happen with Luke Shen because they still have to wait for guys. They still have guys they have to wait on. And
Del Zotto's in a scoring drought, and so he's got more points than Del Zotto.
Yeah, and when Del Zotto isn't scoring, Del Zotto isn't much. That's the problem with Del Zotto. Like if he's got to score, or else he just is a defensive liability that doesn't score.
I think that's a function of the system. Like I said, when you have a coach that is stressing so much defense, and Del Zotto has certainly gotten better. You're going to suck a percentage of offense out of his game.
Yeah. And
that's what you're seeing.
Especially because he's kind of being asked to be a top 2 defender, which is really not what Del Zotto should be.
No.
Well, Jordan Eberle comes back against Pittsburgh tomorrow. So we talked about Jordan Eberle returning soon, and
That's when the playoff push starts.
Right. That's right. And I have my bet, so I'm all psyched. You didn't join us yesterday. I'm betting that the Oilers will go over 500 without Connor McDavid, and the other two guys on this panel are wrong. But that's what I'm betting. So yeah, he'll be back for sure. You're gonna see that there's another big injury return too that's happening, which I just had a second ago. My notes here. I don't know what it is, but shoot.
Well, for Eberle, I mean, the thing is, with Eberle, I mean, with the absence of McDavid.
Sorry, Tavares is coming back.
Oh, just Tavares, yeah.
Yeah, Tavares who was sick, obviously gave that illness to Dan, who was supposed to be on the show today. But yeah, Tavares was sick and is returning tonight to play the Canadiens, who are actually struggling. Right, the Canadiens are in a little bit of a slump.
Yep. Well, you knew they would get into one. I mean, there's a lot of parity in this league.
Yeah, there is.
Some guy named Price isn't in the lineup, so it's a little bit tough, when you lose that guy.
No, that's for sure. Yeah. They should trade for Carter Hutton.
He is the savior.
Carter Hutton. That'd be a good thing. Burmeister, we mentioned this was a really beautiful goal last night.
Yeah.
So I want to throw it up there just because this is
Alexander Burmeister never lacked for skill ever.
Oh yeah, this is a really crazy give and go goal, like a beautiful pass. I've been watching too much soccer when I think to myself that this play is offsides in soccer, but it doesn't matter. I hate soccer offsides, but this is just I've been.
Yeah, but this is more scoring than you see in half a soccer game, right?
No, that's for sure. But this is a beautiful move, and is that Morgan Riley that he just took apart?
No, that's Jake Gardner. You know it by him flopping on the ice.
His Snow Angel.
Yeah, the funny thing was that Burmeister was coming right out of the penalty box, and I don't know if you can find it, but
yeah, I see that. I can see that.
The look after the game that Paul Maurice gave Burmeister, it was like, you're lucky, boy, because you took a stupid penalty with 4 minutes to go in a tie game, and then all of a sudden, you're the hero who scores the winning goal. It was like you're lucky, and it wasn't a great penalty, but it was a really nice goal.
I actually have that on video. It's pretty funny, Mike. I'll show that here. This is pretty good. This is a really funny moment between these two guys. Actually, I like we don't see enough of this, but here's the end of the game, and here's Maurice saying, look at Maurice's look.
That's
classic.
That was good.
That's classic stuff.
Yeah, but
that was really good. So what do we have on the docket for tonight? Let's check out tonight's. What do we have going on tonight? We have Flyers in Calgary, like we talked about.
Which is going to be like, I don't know, is that a game worth staying up for? Let's ask that question.
That's a good question. Is it a game worth staying up for? I don't think so. It's a game worth taping. Depends on where you look at, where you live. I guess if you live in Calgary,
you have insomnia, perhaps.
Yeah, we'll be watching it, but Tampa, Buffalo, which is Boston, Washington. Someone noted to me that this is like on the 5-year anniversary of Holtby taking over for Neuwirth in a game that these teams played. Crazy stats like that.
And go ahead.
Speaking of Buffalo, there was a minor controversy yesterday because someone asked Jack Eichel to react about Connor McDavid's injury, and understandably, Jack Eichel's tired of answering McDavid questions, and he was sort of like, not unprofessional, but just a little dismissive. Like, really, I'm not, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it was. I got the impression it was like, I really don't care. I'm more concerned about my game and playing. And there was some criticism, and I'm like, I don't feel any reason to advise Jack Eichel. It's like, I understand. It's like, they're the 1-2 picks in the draft. They're always going to be compared. It's that Tyler Taylor thing from a few years before then. But it's like, I'm sure you get sick of hearing Connor McDavid's name every time any questions being asked to Jack Eichel.
Yeah, no, I know Wes feels the same way too. These guys just shouldn't be compared. There really is no reason to compare them. Beyond the fact they were drafted the same year, 1-2, which is going to be a reason they're always compared. But beyond that reason, there really is nothing out there. They're in totally dissimilar situations. They're totally different kinds of players.
By the way, in that Boston game, Max Talbot makes his NHL debut tonight.
Max Talbot.
What?
Max Talbot was down in Providence. He's playing his first game of the year.
He got called up.
Oh, his season debut, not his NHL debut.
know. I said it that way on purpose.
Yeah, no, I mean Max is I like Max Talbot.
He's a good guy.
He's a great guy, and he's one of these guys who really is good to have around. He's a good in the room guy, you know, like
he'll always be a hero.
He could help them.
He'll always be a hero in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was. Yeah, I mean, he scored a Stanley Cup winning goal. You can't say that about too many players.
You're right. That mentality could help them, especially with Kelly out.
Yeah, I thought he did. He was really good when they picked him up at the trade deadline, and it wasn't really his fault that team just couldn't get it together at all. Colorado and Arizona play in that rivalry that everybody wants to pretend exists.
Interesting fact about Arizona. Apparently, there is some talk of the Coyotes and Arizona State University getting together to build the new arena either in downtown Phoenix or Scottsdale. So if there's something like that,
that is going to happen. It's a given. We had Kevin on. Remember, he said it. He said it.
Not work. I'm telling you.
He said Kevin. We had Kevin on one day. You weren't on last week, Russ. And Kevin said to us flat out. Kevin Allen said that is going to happen. There's going to be a new arena, and they're not going anywhere.
I'm not saying they're going anywhere, but I'm telling you it's not going to work. Go back to their heyday when they had good players, when they were a good team, and they were still right around 25th, 27th in attendance, even when they were in the old location. Go look at the numbers. They're out there. ESPN has them.
Yeah.
I don't think this is changing.
Right. I mean, hey. I mean, it's I don't know. I think I'm going to give it more. I'm giving it more of a chance than you are, but you know.
All right, but how many years? How many years have they been there?
But they've been there in the wrong place for how many years? I mean, that's the question. Really, it's like a new start for them if they move into a different place.
I think the NHL sees a benefit in them as long as the ownership situation is not an embarrassment. As long as the stadium situation is not an embarrassment. As long as they're financially sound, they want an NHL team in a big
because you know why?
television
Because
market.
it's
But
almost
they're not close to being financially sound at the moment. They're not.
But it's almost 8 million
No.
people in that metropolitan area. That metropolitan area is the size is
How many of them are 60 and over? How many?
not as many as you think. There's
Oh,
definitely.
come on. I'll get you the number right now.
All right, well you give me the number. It's fine. All right, so we'll move on from
Russ
while Russ gets the number of how many old
Census
people
taker.
live in Arizona.
Yes, Russ Cohen, census taker, here on the HockeyBuzzCast.
Oh, I've looked it up. It's crazy. I mean,
So the Islanders play Montreal, Winnipeg plays Ottawa, Nashville and Minnesota is always a fun game. That's probably the best game of the night. They always
The
play
ownership
each other.
of home ownership. Yes.
The Battle of Craig Leopold's teams.
Yes.
That always happens. And of course, the other big news today, while Russ finds out how many old people live in Arizona, is
we're not doing Arizona. I have both. I have Phoenix and
okay,
Arizona.
Phoenix area. Okay. Is World Cup of Hockey news and Mike Babcock beating out Joel Quenneville, edging him out according to NHL.com. And I guess all I can manage is some kind of naked sumo wrestling match. I'm not sure quite.
I was going to say arm wrestling, but you had to make a naked sumo wrestling.
I don't know. How did he edge him out? Like, what was the competition? Was it like
The competition was that Mike Babcock has won 2 Olympic gold medals, and he's based in Toronto, and the games are being played in Toronto. That's what I think.
And probably he's got less to worry about this year during the year, because Quenneville's got a team that's actually going to be competing longer than his is.
And I know that Lou Lamoriello made some comments about it this afternoon, but you know the one thing I was going to say is that the fact that you've got 5 NHL head coaches here in Babcock, Quenneville, Claude Julien, Bill Peters, and I'm missing the one. I can't think of the other one. That are all going to be part of the coaching staff for Team Canada in the midst of their team's training camps.
Right. That's a lot. I mean, Lou is a part of Team USA, so that's why this is going to be a big issue. He's part of that group too.
All right, here's some numbers. I'll give you some numbers.
Yeah, go ahead. Give me some numbers, Russ.
So in Phoenix, and this is as of, I think it looks like 2014. In Phoenix, there's 1.5 million.
1.5 million old people. How do you define old people?
No. Just 1.5 million overall. That is the overall population, 1,537,058.
Right.
In Arizona, there's over 6,700,000, but there's people clearly that are not traveling across.
No, but the largest, when you search for largest metro areas, Phoenix and Philadelphia are almost the same.
But I'm just telling you, this is $1,000,005. Then when you count 65 and over, it's 8.4%, and that's as of 2010. So the number could be going up. 18 and under, 28%. You put
there
numbers
is a,
together. That's 36% that's probably not showing up to your games.
there is a rather large boom from south of the border, Russ.
Whatever.
If you ask
I'm
Donald
just saying,
Trump.
that's 36% as of 2010 that can't go to your game or won't because they're 65 and over or under 18 and can't drive.
Well, if you offer like an egg
What, you gonna
McMuffin
take
or something.
the subway there? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
That commute
All right,
from Grand Canyon's not bad.
We now know two things about Russ. He hates Arizona and he hates old people. So
No, it's not true. It's not true. It's just I have to say again, what percentage are the Coyotes activating from the population? And I remember looking it up not that long ago, and it's less than 2% that are actually showing up
there
to
you go.
games.
I mean, that's a big number. I'm kidding. But you're right. You're totally right.
Should I tell you about friends that are buying tickets there for $5 a piece? Should I talk about that?
No. Let's not discuss that.
You want to skip
Wait
that?
a second. Wait a second.
One thing before I go here.
When I went to a game in Arizona a couple years ago, I paid $65 a ticket. So I don't know where these $5 tickets came from, but they weren't.
They're there. Trust me, they're there.
Okay. We'll trust you.
Do we have any cards today?
No, I want to applaud the NHL.com for something right now.
Okay.
This is the current article up there is the Babcock will coach Team Canada, and then they break the story that Crosby will be on Canada's roster right here. So just if you're curious,
Yeah, I mean, what if he's hurt?
Sidney Crosby will make Team Canada next year.
But what if he's hurt? You can't say that.
You can't say that, and you also just why? Why would you even say? I'm sorry.
Why would you say it?
I think they're announcing like 16 players from that will be on the team or something like that way before.
Why?
To try to sell tickets. These guys are going to play. I mean, these guys. It's not like
Best players available are going to play.
the best players are going to want to play.
Yeah, well, sure. I mean,
There is no discussion about Sidney, Doug Armstrong says. He will be part of the first group of 16 players.
well, I think people are assuming since he's going through a bad stretch right now and he only has 5 points that.
Oh, yeah, he
you know,
sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, he's terrible. He's woeful.
This is getting silly now. It's like, wait a minute. Nobody thought he wasn't going to be on the team, and
Right.
you have to wait and see, if the guy's healthy.
Right, exactly. So anyway, if you can buy your Sidney Crosby Team Canada shirts today. I bet he's number 87, too. Remember, guys, without the buzz, it is just hockey. Sorry, no cards today. I just whacked my head. It's too late in the day. We'll do it tomorrow for sure. Tomorrow we'll be joined by Ty. I think, Russ, you'll be out of commission because you're
I am out of commission.
doing the famous show on XM.
I am.
And but we will be back tomorrow, Mike and I, at 1 o'clock.
Here's a Thomas Hurdle card for you.
A Thomas Hurdle card. Awesome.
The one where he inscribed it for the 4 goals he scored against the Rangers. There you go.
I'm
Yes.
sure Marty Baron wants that card.
He wrote 4-goal game, and Marty Baron wants no part
You
of
got to
it.
get Joe Thornton to sign that to make it really famous. That would be good. And he signed it with sign it with some lovely catchy phrase like he used that night.
It'd have to be a longer card.
Right. Remember, without the buzz, it's just hockey. See ya.